I think it's common knowledge right now that the WGA deal was a trap and not the kind you guys lust over all the time either. So let's point and laugh. Hollywood screenwriter explains how woke diversity hires will be out of gerbs under new WGA deal. Yeah, too bad the studios are still full of woke diversity hires in every other position. So it's not like it's going to matter. Screenwriter Scripts Doctor recently asserted that woke diversity hires will be out of gerbs under a newly minted deal with the Writers Guild of America signed with studios. During an appearance on Midnight's Edge, yep, there we go, on Midnight's Edge in the morning, Script Doctor shared his thoughts. Yeah, I think I was actually tuned into bits and pieces of this. Well, we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be something good said. He was asked by the show's host, Andre, will there be less jobs for writers now when you have guaranteed writers' room? Yes, I can tell you now, yes. They're just going to make less shows. They already realize they're making too many. None of that shit makes money. They're going to greatly cut back on the amount of shows they make. So overall, way more people are going to lose their jobs. It's guaranteed. The Script Doctor responded, well, this is one of the things I didn't like in regards to the guaranteed writers' room because you have compelled hiring. But it looks like certain members of the union on the negotiating committee have turned that inside out a little bit for the benefit of writers that know how to finish a script and maybe not push too much ideology. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely some veteran writers out there that are drinking the Kool-Aid, but the vast majority of them, the ones that do preach, are younger. I've learned through my colleagues that a lot of them actually spent more time striking and spending time on social media than expanding their portfolio of scripts to pitch when the strike is over. It's all for that virtue signal, baby. After briefly comparing himself to his colleagues, he continued. So basically, what we are seeing here is from the youngins is there's going to be possibly less opportunities for them, especially if something like a pre-greenlit or mini rooms. And that comes down to two factors I can think of right now. The first one is that with the current that the current NBA clearly defines that a showrunner has to be a union writer, so it can be an internal executive producer like Kevin Feige. It also gives them a bit more power in who they select for writing positions in the minimum staffing mini rooms, but it also says whoever they select has to be approved by the company or the showrunner has to argue for them to be involved. Now, with regards to these rooms, you have showrunners that would only real showrunner, a good showrunner is only going to hire writers that are going to get value out of in their room. What really gets me, and I think that I facepalmed when I heard this actually on the stream, the fact that this is news, the fact that Hollywood is just now realizing this. What? We should only be hiring people that are actually going to do their jobs? That we're actually going to get the value out of them as expected? Oh my God! Give this man a Nobel Prize. We did not know that we should only be hiring useful people. Which means that if you're a diversity hire and that's all you've got going for you and are of no value to a showrunner, which means you're not going to get your guaranteed hire over there. And I think that's a good thing. Me too. I'm still sad that this is apparently news to Hollywood. As for the second point, he detailed the other aspect with regards to the contracts pertaining to mini rooms is that the compelled hiring is now increased. The compelled hiring with the extended time frame in which they have to work on the show, which is a minimum of 10 weeks. He explained that essentially turns the mini room into something more expensive than the traditional model of developing a pilot, producing the pilot to be screened before an audience test to see whether it's actually going to be good, and then giving the green light to go into actual series to order. The mini room basically tries to force a hit show with within a 6 episode or 8 episode, 10 episode structure, get it all written before any of it is filmed, and then push it out there. Please go ahead. I actually want this. Go ahead, Hollywood. Go ahead, sink yourselves. He then provided an example. You can look at a pilot like Ahsoka and say to yourself, okay, that's a show that was done in a mini room. It was done by one writer, Dave Filoni. And if you put that through the pilot test, there's no way it would have been picked up for the remainder of the episodes. And that's a good thing. You don't want that. So right now, looks like the mini rooms are kind of being, for the moment, they're kind of being priced out on a budget side of things, the studios, because it's more lucrative and less risk for them to actually go back to shooting a pilot, testing it, and then determining whether it's going to be given a series order as opposed to just building a show in a limited amount of time and then just pumping it out for you to be stuck with it and can't control, develop, or change it based on audience reception. Hollywood, has been ignoring audiences for so long. I do not believe they actually listen to audience feedback at all. We've been telling them what we want for years. And yet these motherfuckers just call us Nazis and say they don't want us as customers. Okay, that's fine. The script doctor then asserted when you have those types of orders, you have the showrunner being in charge of and picking the writers they want to work with and being able to argue why they need it for the benefit of the show, you basically exclude any of the writers in town that are not going to be of value to you. So what you should have been doing from the start. Yes. Why is this not the norm? And I think everyone listening and gentlemen on the panel, on the panel know of those types of writers are not going to be lasting in the industry because they're not qualified. And I think that's great. I think it's great that there's less jobs for them because that gives me a better chance for having more job opportunities. Oh yeah, this script doctor guy has the same attitude I do. Yeah, sure. Like if the new generation is this fucking stupid, it's more job security for me. People would rather hire me than them. Great. Keep being stupid. He then responded to a comment from Andre who stated, let's face it, a big part of the problem that we've had, especially with the MCU, isn't just the producers behind the scenes have gone nuts. It's that the writer rooms are staffed with incompetence and general assorted activists, many of whom would be these younglings, if you will, that come in not through merit, but through other means and produce a bunch of bullshit. Uh-huh. And as long as the bullshit keeps getting consumed, Script Doctor replied, if it's not through merit, they've done something that made them hot in the moment that lets, and then you have basically students clamoring for them to work for them writing. They overbook themselves or overstress themselves. Then they end up becoming terrible because they've signed 9 deals that are due over the next year and a half or 2 years and 2 years to turn in. Trying to write 9 feature films in 2 years is a really difficult thing to do, especially if they're going to be managing quality, maintaining quality. Oh, is this why they keep lowering the quality? Because at that point, it doesn't matter. Quality's shit anyway. And on top of that, you're putting them out there. You're getting the notes back. You're going back and forth. You're dividing a lot of your time. The biggest red flag I've pointed out is especially with Dave Callahan. He's written Wonder Woman's 1984, Zombieland 2, Mortal Kombat, and Shang-Chi. Those 4 movies alone came out within a year of each other, and they were all terrible, but he was the hot ticket item writer for the studios, and he could not say no. Switching to television, he commented, now if you're going to have a little bit less, especially on the television side of things, where they're not going to be producing as many shows that has a benefit because it's getting more into quality over quantity. Yeah, up until now, it was all about like just shit out as many of them as possible just to get them on the streaming services. And on top of that, maybe there's a chance that you guys out there in the audience will actually start seeing other shows that are not being pushed solely by Disney also come, and also some of the other networks. That would be a good thing because there's probably a lot out there that you haven't seen might actually be to your fancy. So backfired against the woke. That's great. Yeah, I'll stick to anime. Thank you very much. Well, maybe not if they keep censoring it, but now maybe I'll just stop watching television altogether and just read manga. Script Doctor did go on to recognize the new deal will not eradicate all of the woke writers from Hollywood, at least not immediately. Dude, I don't even think the fact that they immediately started announcing like an Office reboot and woke Bambi, I don't think the purge is even gonna happen. They're probably actually gonna keep the woke writers and remove everyone else. A number of the members of the current WGA board that were expecting this to lead to hiring those types of hires are disappointed to learn about this. However, there's probably going to be a prominent they are probably also prominent enough in the industry to get a show here and there. So there will always be, of course, a hiring that. Well, if these prominent people keep losing money, it's not going to happen because the second they lose a studio $500 million, they're not prominent anymore. Like James Cameron is still prominent because he was still able to make Avatar 2 make money. If Avatar 2, which needed like what did he say, like $2 billion to be profitable? If Avatar 2 made only $100 million, James Cameron would be persona non grata in Hollywood going forward. So all of these guys that allegedly have power, that are prominent, they only have that until they fail. Now, you will still most likely have these types of shows peppered throughout, but still put for a little bit. He continued, there's the other parts too, because the new residual metric, the more money you get, comes based on the fact that you have to obtain 20% of the subscriber viewership or more in order for you to make the most amount of money. If you care about making money as a writer, that means you have to make a good show. Oh yeah, all these writers are fucked. So they legitimately believed the propaganda of these studios. They're like, oh well, the studios say that when they're lying to investors, they say this shows are doing gangbusters. Why am I not being paid for it? They're gonna find out real quick. You're not getting paid for it because those shows aren't actually making money. And you will soon see that certain habits, such as the stuff that we can point to Disney doing and not doing, is going to be profitable. And it will be a difficult time for some of those writers to get those opportunities to learn that lesson. A difficult time for us as an audience being exposed to those shows and then, of course, turning them off and trying to find something else. And that's a good thing. Yeah, then there's those of us like me who just walked away from Hollywood. Even if Hollywood did a complete about face right now, I don't think I'd care. Like, I'm just done with Hollywood. It's basically like their desire to want more money based on those residuals has forced them to basically say we have to do a good job now, and I think that's great. So it looks to me the irony has prevailed in regards to quality of the work is predicated on the merit of a show and how well that appeals to an audience and gains viewership. If your show fails to gain viewership, that's easy. All they're going to do is just call their audience Nazis. That's going to get them to help out, right? They then declared, once I think enough of the industry learns that rule, everyone else will start benefiting from it, at least on the entertainment side of things. Here's the catch, though: is it even going to be around for much longer? Because I'm not the only one who's done with Hollywood for good. There's other people like me who are just like, fuck it. I found other hobbies. I'm doing other things. I have no interest in watching TV or movies anymore. I don't even go back and watch the old stuff. I'm just done. Now, the idea that a number of writers will be out of jobs following WJDO is recently claimed by financial analyst Valiant Renegade on his YouTube channel, where he stated the union bosses of the WGA have declared victory against Hollywood studios. Meanwhile, a lot of the rank and file writers, the union members themselves, are probably going to get cut out of work and perhaps even look for new careers. This career field is oversaturated anyway. So, yeah. He explains, so pretty much as we predicted, or as any economics textbook could have predicted this. If there was going to be an artificial increase in labor costs, then there was going to be necessary offset by way of production costs. Yeah, they're going to cut back on the amount of shows they make. Now, Deadline's Nelly Andriva also reported that number for anonymous sources informed her that there would be less work for writers. She wrote, accelerated contraction, more competition, reeled in budgets, fewer overall deals, and possibly more cancellations of some of the things the industry sources are preparing for. Yeah, I should have prepared for it a little bit sooner, you know. The source informed her no one is buying, and this is the worst marketplace I've ever experienced. Oh, by buying, I think they mean their pitches. Like they pitch their ideas to these studios, and none of the studios bite. So anonymous writer also informed her across the board, I've heard from buyers is that they will be buying less and making less. Another anonymous studio executive also stated the strike just sped up the inevitable pullback. I suspect everyone will be doing less. Yep. And this is what people like Midnight's Edge have been saying from the start. The studios wanted this strike to give them an excuse to cut back, to give them an excuse to cancel all of these dog shit shows that they already greenlit and they can't get out of the deal anymore unless they do force majeure. The studios wanted this strike to happen, and they got everything they wanted out of it. So yeah, these the wokies got played.